that you understand the process for a field experience. If you're a master or a doctor, who's master students? No doc students. Okay. Maybe someone will come in. Make sure you understand the process, the timeline for applying for a field experience, and then talk about some dates, expectations, some tips, things like that, okay? And then again, all this will get emailed to you, including this PowerPoint. I don't have a clicker, so I just have to walk over here. Alright, so we're going to try to cover today. Who you should contact in the field experience office, the timeline, due dates, the electronic plan. So the way you apply for the field experience is online. There's no papers. Everything's online. Talk about your hours, the log, how you maintain your hours, how you'll be evaluated, and how you evaluate your site too. Look at the lines of communication, particularly when you're interviewing with sites, because it could be your next job. The interview process. We offer this orientation once every semester, so you don't have to come anymore. But I mentioned like an email today, and I say always come to get a refresher, right, and see what you might miss, and make sure you get to know the dates and all that good stuff. Next steps and some links. So here we go. All right. So once you get into your field experience site, which is practicum or internship, your first line of communication should be to the site supervisor. If you have a problem or a question unsure, you shouldn't call Chris, myself, your advisor, the chairperson of the department. Talk to the site supervisor. Then if you don't like the answer, you can't get something resolved, then talk to your faculty instructor, the person teaching your course. Then if you can't get what you need done, then you contact Chris. Who else here? And then myself. Do you see the chairperson out here? No. Some people just love to email the chair of the department. That is not necessary. Let's follow this flow here. Nice communication. I mean, I must be like stabbing you for you to like call the chair. There's really no reason for that. Let's keep it right here, okay? That's our line of communication so that we all can have the same source of information. As you probably know, the field experience is when almost all of your courses kind of come together, and now you're applying them into a setting. That's practicum for 1 semester, and the internship for 2 semesters. Doc student is a little bit different. There's no doc students in here, so I won't go over that, right? Okay. All right. So your requirements for the site. Dangerous up here. When you decide to be with a site, when it means you've interviewed, they accepted you, you've accepted them, you make sure you have a time schedule that you can commit to be at that site. So whatever days they need and that work for you, make sure you stick to it and don't change later. That throws them off, it throws you off. We tell them not to do that. We don't want you to do that either. So make sure when you're interviewing that you're able to commit the time that you say to the site. Also commit your life. Piece of your life, because you have a lot going on, right? Besides Argosy. Is Argosy your whole life? Yeah. I have family, pets, fish, relatives, jobs, church, community. So this is a big chunk of your time. Practicum's not that big. Practicum's maybe like 7 hours a week. Internship's like 20-some hours a week. So as this time approaches, be ready to manage your time so that you have enough time for it. We don't want you to get burned out. We want you to be healthy and feeling good and enjoying this process. All right, so registration. So once we approve you for a site, I'm trying not to move too much. Is that working?
You're good.
Okay. Once we approve you for a site, you need to register for a course, a practicum course or internship course. So I didn't know if everyone knew that. Sometimes it's assumed. I want to make sure I don't assume anything. So you will get registered for a course. The registrar will not let you register until we give them your name, which means you've turned in everything for the e-training plan. Okay? When you register for the course, make sure you understand the schedule. Practicum internship is a little bit different. For some classes, most practicum internship classes meet the first night of class and the last. You ever had any class like that? Maybe? Yeah, so usually meet the first night and the last night in person on campus. And the other 13 weeks are online. So I just want to get to see you, meet you, know who your instructor is, and usually have something at the end. Maybe have like a party or papers or presentations like that, right? So watch for that so you don't miss a class, because attendance is required for every class. You cannot miss any class of practicum and internship, because you're getting supervision about your site. All right, site requirements. I passed out some documents. One is a big manual. This will get emailed to you. Again, it's also on the student portal. It lists in the manual what's required for the sites. So maybe you have a new site that you want to suggest to us. You could be more assured if you make sure the site has all these requirements. So typically, you want to be at a site that has a variety of clients, So maybe adults, maybe couples, families, children, not necessarily, but it's nice to have a variety. Why would it be nice to have a variety of clients?
Be exposed to more.
Absolutely. Definitely more exposure. It can help you decide, I do not want to work with them. I do want to work with them. It can just help you solidify. Or if you already know a population that you definitely want to work with, like you know it, then perhaps find a site that specializes in that age group or that demographic so that you can really build your niche. Right? Okay. There's different types of hours, which we'll talk about in a second, but you want to make sure the site can get you your hours. So you heard me say for practicum, it's about 7 hours a week. Make sure they have enough clients and work for you there to do those hours. Internship is a big commitment, 20 hours. Make sure that site has enough clients and time for you so you can get all your hours. I don't want you to do all this work, get a site, and then not get any clients. That would not be good, right? It's usually slow in the beginning, but I want to make sure that they have a commitment there. The other condition that's required is that your assigned supervisor must be licensed in the state that you're working in. We prefer licensed professional counselors, LPCs, because we don't like social workers and psychologists. I mean, I don't, but we'll let you work with social workers and psychologists, licensed and licensed psychiatric nurses. It's all in the manual. Any of them, as long as they're currently licensed in the state with which you're in, they're fine for supervision. And what's going to happen is this supervisor is going to be able to give you the feedback you need working with your cases. Okay? Practicum, sometimes a little bit different. Sometimes practicum, your classes will have a lot more supervision in them because supervisors for practicum may not have that necessarily all the time. So you may notice in practicum that you just have a little bit more heavier supervision. Okay, so make sure the sites can meet all these. The other requirement we need a site is the recordings. Now, we'll give you a list, but every day these sites change, right, Chris?
Yep.
So the sites on the list, hey, welcome, maybe not. Maybe the sites have changed. Maybe last week were recording, this week they're not recording. So you want to make sure to welcome, just sign in when you get a chance. Maybe not right now, but just sign in when you get a chance. Make sure to ask them, do you have this person on staff? Can I still get these hours? What kind of clients you have? Can you still allow me to record? You must be the site that allows you to record. So for practicum, you need to turn in 2 recordings, 2 sessions. For internship, you can see what the numbers are. And then for doctors, it's a bit different depending on what they're doing.
Does it have to be video or can be just audio?
Yeah, audio. So a lot of students are high tech. They're using iPhones or MP3s, you can do digital, all that kind of fun stuff. You can do good old tape recorders. Do CD players still exist? I don't know, recorders. I don't even DVDs of it. I don't know. Even good old, what's cassettes called? Even those, you know. This could be a process if you consent. Most sites will, well, all sites should say yes. But when you're in there with a client, some clients may say, no. So you got to figure out a nice way to market yourself. So like, I would say something like the very first session, I may want to record you in about 4 sessions. Next session, I'm going to record us in 3 sessions. Next week, we're going to record. You might have to do some kind of transition. Now, depending on the kind of clients you have, some clients love to be recorded. They're like, yes, can you record every session? You know, or if they're adolescents or personality disorder. So you might not have any problems, but this can be a challenge qualitatively. So think about how to get consent so you don't run into any problems with that, because it's required. The other requirements is your site will be required to do an evaluation. So near the end of each semester, we will email your supervisor, which is why the information you put on your online application is critical. We will email them. It's not a link, but it is a link. We're going to email them a link to do your evaluation online. If they're my kind of supervisor, they'll do the evaluation with you. And then print it out and you keep a copy of that. Now some may do it without you. I would still get a copy of that. Let me ask you some different ways of how to do it. But they must do it. You cannot pass this class without a successful evaluation. Critical that you have that. But we also want to know what you think of the site. So every semester we'll ask you to evaluate the site. We don't want any crazy sites on our list, right? So if you have a crazy site that we need to know, make sure you evaluate that site every semester as well. And I have that link for you. Now some sites have quite a few background requirements, like a background check, fingerprints, credit, money, pay this. So make sure you're fully informed in requirements that they may have. We don't provide any compensation for that. So they require you to get a background check for $25. That's your call, if that site is worth it for you to get that background check. And these things can take time. All right, so make sure you ask these questions. Are there any prerequisites for this site that I need to know of so that you can plan accordingly? Okay. And do you know this already? Did y'all get the newsletter today? Yesterday? Isn't that pretty cool? And the newsletter reminded you of this. So your site cannot be your job. Why can your field experience site not be your job?
Dual relationships.
We want to avoid dual relationships. Can you avoid them completely? No, we're going to try. So you can't really separate your boss being your boss at work and also being your boss with your internship. Now, there are some ways that we can work it out where if you're having a large agency and another office or department's over here and you have a separate supervisor, we can make that work. But it just can't be the same place, so it can't be your job, okay? These are the main requirements. We put them here as a summary so that you can know this in case you find a new site or when you're interviewing for current site, approved sites, you know that make sure they can meet all these major pieces, okay? All right, here we go. This is a timeline in a nutshell. There's a handout when you signed in that has all the very specific dates. So you see a little bit, we moved it up a little bit, moved it to September. So you can see your deadlines. So your training application deadline is 2 pieces. It's going to be due February 1st. And then we're going to review it. We're going to check it out. We're going to call your supervisor. Is Liz correct? Is this accurate? This is coming there. Can you meet all these requirements? So we're going to touch base with them. And then we're going to inform you 30 days later that says, yes, this looks good, Liz. Definitely go for it. And then you've got 1 more month to turn in the second piece of the training plan, which is the agreement. And that has things like what's your schedule, when you're going to be there, what are your hours, what goals have you met up with your supervisor, all these things. And then the summer starts in May. Usually starts in May. Yeah? Excited? Maybe? Want to be? All right. Excellent. All right, so here's the one that I handed out for you that has all the particular ones. Spring has already passed, so you can see anyone who wanted to start in the spring attended the orientation in June or previously. And they have these deadlines. And they're all set to go. So for you guys, you're right here. All right, these are your deadlines, February and April. And it should start right around here. Typically, summer starts on the first week of May. I gave you the dates when the evaluations are due. You can put it on your calendar to make sure that your supervisor talks to you about the evaluation. He may be calling you right now. And then your activity log, this is what it's due, the very last day of class, is around about this time. Okay? All right. All right, the training plan. It's the same plan for whether you're a master's student or doctoral student or practicum or internship, anything like that. It has 2 pieces. Application is more general. Agreement is more specific. You can edit your training plan anytime before the due date. Once the due date hits, you can't go in there and change it anymore. Now, the thing that's a bit funny for some of this is if you want to make changes to it, you need to access that plan through the same computer. This is IP sensitive. If you want to start it at home and then you finish it at work, you're going to start all over again. It only goes by IP. So if you want to make sure of all your information, do it all from one computer. Or if not, you have to do it all over again. That makes sense? Because it's just very particular to IP. We don't want you working all over one address. Okay. You'll see it's being passed around as one PDF of that, just so you can see what it looks like. Make sure you guys share both the plan and both the application and the agreement. Okay, so practicum, you got to do the whole application and the agreement, the whole training plan. Internship 1, you do the whole application and agreement again. Even if you're at the same site, you do it again. Internship 2. If internship 2 is the same site, you just do the agreement again. We don't need the application. So if you like your site and you want to stay there internship 2, then you should just do the agreement again and meet that deadline. That's there. Okay. This supervisor, he is trying to get you. Just trying. I mean, he wants you at that site.
I got 3 phones today. I'm on hold.
Oh, okay. All right, the manual, I mean, we're going over a little bit, some details, some general stuff, but it's all in the manual. Everything I'm going over is in the manual, okay? Just want to give you opportunities to kind of hear a general presentation and then You can read the details after that. So we're just going to focus on this column. There's no doctoral students here, so just ignore this. Basically, there's 3 types of hours you'll get in your field experience. Direct hours, indirect hours, and supervision. Direct is really, really critical because you have a certain number that you must get. I think I have it in the slide. Indirect is like the supportive stuff, administrative stuff, helping out, anything that you're not doing with clients. And then you have supervision. Supervision will include weekly supervision with your site supervisor, any group supervision that you have, peer supervision, all that will go into this third category here. Now the log, which is going around as well, tells you what counts as direct, what counts as indirect, and what counts as supervision. So there's no question about what counts, what doesn't. On that log are some caveats trying to support you if you're looking at getting licensure in the tri-state area. So you'll see, while some things might count for direct for Argosy, Maryland may not take all of those for direct hours, Maryland Licensure Board. Virginia may not take all of these for direct hours, and DC the same. So we're just trying to get you thinking, if you're looking at licensure in this area, or whatever state you're looking at, be mindful of how you get your hours, so you can kind of get the most that you can if you're thinking about licensure down the road. You might think about licensure down the road? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so trying to support you, trying to get as many hours as you can while you're here as a student. And if you have questions, you can talk to Chris and I about that. All those details are on the log. So this looks easy, right? You just take the log, scan it, and you email to Chris. For some reason, it's difficult for some students. I'm not sure why. Your log is probably several pages long, maybe
46
pages long, depending on how you track your stuff. All that needs to be put into one PDF file, and it must be emailed to us. We're not doing any papers, we're all electronic. So keep track of your log. You have a copy of it there, and just remember what you're supposed to do with that log. And when you're scanning it, the front page has all the signatures on it that are required. Why do you think we want everything so nice and neat and clear about your hours?
Is it necessary, like when you try to get licensed, you're leaving the
You should
house?
come work for me. Absolutely. Later on, you're going to need us to help you apply for licensure. And maybe I'm not here, Chris is not here, but that document will be here. And I can look it up, and I can say, yep, Deidre got these hours, and yes, we will sign off on her licensure application. These are the hours that she got. Okay, so it's really critical that you turn this in electronically and on time. You cannot get a passing grade for your class unless you've turned in this log. Okay, your supervisor will want it too, then we also will want it. And your supervisor may want one too. He or she may want one too for their own records, which you should give them a copy. You should, just so they have it in case, I don't know, like we just all quit or something, I don't know. And so, because someone needs your hour in case you need them later on. Maybe you lose them. You're not going to lose them, but just in case your friend loses them. All right. You don't need to read that. I would not torture you about that. This is what it looks like. We will email your supervisor, and we'll say, hey, how you doing? Good semester. Thank you for your service. Here's the link. Here's to the evaluation of your practical internship student. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to send it directly to them. So if we have a bad email address on your training plan, what does that mean?
You won't get the evaluation.
Right, or maybe they were there when you did your application and agreement, and during the semester you had a new one. That person left, and we go send an evaluation to the first one. Not going to get a grade for that class. Going to throw everything off. We must have current information. So if you have a change in supervisor, let us know. We'll go back in. We'll put it into our database because it's already closed. You can't go back in yourself to put it in. All right, there's the evaluation. Same for you. We want you to evaluate your site, and you'll see that going around. So I talked about communication a little bit earlier. I just want to remind you about the professionalism. When you're going out to site, you're representing yourself in Argosy, and you should approach every site as if it's your next job. Lots of students end up working at their placements. So when you think about contacting them, think about how to communicate the best way. Know what you need, so you don't act like you have no idea, well, I think I need this. Know what you need, know who you are, know what you're representing. Thank them for the time. Basic stuff like that can go a long, long way. Because maybe you decide they're not the site for you, for practicum, but for internship, or maybe for a job, it may be good. Keep that line so you remember who you are. If you want to be really thorough, I don't know if I have it here or somewhere else, Send them a thank you note. Do people send thank you notes anymore, or is it all email?
Every once in a while you'll get,
Yeah.
like our office will get a thank you note from a student every once in a while, like.
Stamps still exist, so you could send a thank you note. Something that's professional, right? I don't want to be condescending. I just want to remind you about the nature of how to have positive communication with your site. What I do recommend is processing with your faculty advisor. At least I tell this all that. At least once a month, reach out to your faculty advisor. Do you know who your faculty advisor is? Well, someone's working with them. So who
It's
is
Dr. Gomez now.
Dr. Gomez now? Okay, so Hutchinson was your advisor,
Mhm.
right? Yeah. Yeah. Do you know? Everyone knows? You talked to them recently?
Never spoken.
Let's do it. What's your last name?
I know who it is.
Oh.
Never spoken to him. He's never available.
Oh, contact me. I'll help you work it out. Because you need someone like us making sure that you're on the right path with the right information. We don't want to have you miss a deadline. We're nice people. I have candy in my office. We're that kind of person. But that's the person that you want to be. You want them to know you because they're also may recommend you later on. They have the most recent, current, up-to-date information. Okay? And they give you some good guidance. So stay in communication with your advisor. Definitely. Talk to your faculty instructor. Send me some good jokes. Chris loves jokes too. I mean, communication is just really, really key at this point. You're almost finished on this line of the program, right?
Yep.
So why not be happy, enjoy, don't have any mistakes at this stage. Okay? All right. We know all this. Your first line is your instructor. Okay, so I talked about the interview. So things you should do when you're preparing interview for a site. Did you know part of your great tuition years you get free services in the Career Services Center? The Writing Center? They'll help you look at your resume. They'll edit it, fix it up, cover letter, free. Nothing is free anymore. Take advantage of it if you want. So that when you are approaching sites, you have a nice fresh resume, a personalized professional cover letter. If you're nervous, maybe you've never done this before, I don't make any assumptions, role play with a buddy, make sure you can articulate your program, these kinds of things. So I recommend contacting at least 3 sites, right? At least 3 sites, maybe more. Because some are already full, you're not just competing against yourself, you're competing against all the other universities in this area. Which is why we pushed this up a little bit earlier. We want to give you guys some competitive edge. So I would reach out to at least 3, maybe some other ones as well, and just be right up. Here I am. I know you do this. I offer this. Can we set up a time for an interview? Just ask. Let's just do that. Can we set up an interview? That's what I recommend. Make sure you individualize your cover letter so you know something. You've done some research. You know something about the site to say, I'd like to work with Harbell Counseling because I know that you work with low-income adolescents who are at risk. It's an area of interest to me. I mean, be very specific. That's attractive, just like a job. A cover letter is very attractive. Really get their attention. Thank them for the time. Get a stamp. Send them a letter, maybe. I don't know. Okay? You know this already. Maybe your friends don't know it. You can help them out. Let's see. So again, we'll email this so you can have it, but I'm just going to give you some guidance if you weren't sure what to do when you're approaching the site. Will you make it very personalized? Some of them may ask you for references. Maybe you have them already ready. So don't give them your advisor because that wouldn't be them. I mean, you know. But someone that you could recommend you or name and number, that'd be really thorough, and your applications actually have all that at the same time. Call Dr. Richards. She'll know. She'll tell you if you want it. It's always nice in a job, definitely for internship, come with some questions. People like that. What might be a question you could ask a site? Sorry, keep moving. Sorry.
How long has it been in existence?
Yes.
How many clients do they serve?
Yeah.
They're just specialties.
Right.
What's your mission statement?
Yeah. Or you could say, I read your mission statement. Tell me more about that. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, I said you should know the mission statement before you go on the interview.
Sometimes they're kind of like 5 words. Really? So maybe that'd be a good segue. I read it, but tell me more about that. Where did it come from? Or has it always been the mission? Yeah. You know this already, right? Just kind of solidifying these things for you. Let's see. Got this. Okay, accepting a site. So I'm recommending you apply to 3 or 4 sites, but what if 2 accept you? Or 1 accepts you, But the one you really want hasn't decided yet. And we have a deadline. What do you do?
Follow up.
Call.
Figure out something. We do not want you to disturb your brand or our brand. If you make a commitment to a site, you should stick with that commitment. Even if the one you preferred hasn't responded, they come back later. What we could do, if you want, you can do 2 sites. If you have your 20 hours internship and you want to do 10, and both sides are okay, maybe you could do that. But we really want you to stick to your commitment. And don't back out on a site you gave a commitment to because the one you wanted came through. Okay? Definitely. So be very sure. That's why right now, early, summer starts in May. It's September. Reach out now. Give them plenty of time to give you an answer. Plenty of time. Okay, so there's that. You don't have to attend this again, but you can. Just so you can stay informed on different things. So there hasn't been any major changes. So for those who started in the fall. So in the fall, we implemented more tapes to be more aligned with K-Prep, more recordings to be aligned with K-Prep, and some hours. But nothing too fancy. So every semester we try to see if there's any changes. Okay, so you're welcome to come again, for sure. Next steps. You're here, you've made this, you're not eligible to apply for summer field experience. The email that you put on the sign-in sheet, we're going to email you the manual that's going. Don't take that manual, make sure you give it back to me. We're going to email you the manual, this presentation, list of approved sites, and then PDFs of the training application and agreement. Don't turn those in. Do you know that? Don't turn those in because the application and agreement are online. We did have a couple that turned in the PDFs. Online, okay? Again, these are all on the student portal, Cal Student Portal, which we've been upgraded a month or so ago. Still could be better, but at least it's all there. So we're going to email you this next week. Then you can go out, start interviewing, find your placement, complete your plan by the due dates, do your field experience starting in the summer, finish it, get the evaluations in, turn your login electronically, and then come do this again if you want. What do you think? It's all right. It's good. We're nice people. We'll work with you. Not that bad. These are the links. So when we email this to you, this is the link that you'll complete for the first one, application. When does it due?
February 1st.
All right. I know it's Friday. I know you want to go to happy hour. And then here's the link that you'll go for the agreement. When does that due?
March
No,
1st.
April
April
1st.
Fool's Day. It won't be Fools now. April Fools. The link, you don't want the link your supervisor will complete. That wouldn't be very nice. So we would email them the link. And this will be the link that you'll complete to evaluate your site for the summer. Okay? What do you think?
What's the training application decision?
March 1st. So when you submit yours on February 1st, we're going to call. What's your name?
Diane.
Is Diana really coming in? Are you going to be Diane's supervisor? Can you meet the requirements, recording the hours, licensed person? So the whole 30 days, we're going to make sure. Then we'll contact you and say you are good to go.
Okay.
Now you have 1 more month to do the agreement, which is like meeting with the supervisor, what are your goals, objectives, what's your schedule going to be.
So just in case we didn't ask the right
Oh, yeah.
questions, you come back behind us.
Right, because we really want to make sure there's no discrepancy in the requirements. We want you to just enjoy the clinical experience, and we're going to make sure everything is lined up correctly. Right? That's what it should be. There should be no crazy drama. Just learn and enjoy and appreciate and then graduate and then apply for the doctoral program. Right, Liz? Yeah. Oh,
Sure.
God. I think that may be it. Okay, so, yeah.
I have a question. Is it appropriate to give your site or internship like the dates in which things are due? Is
I
that-
would,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, they probably might be impressed. Don't overwhelm them with the sheet, perhaps, but just say, I would need a decision by January 1st, January 2nd. Lots of questions come to you right now? Maybe later?
These are often unpaid things that we do, right? Isn't it recommended for internship for us to have a full-time job?
I can't hear you.
Sure, she would know if the internships are unpaid and if, can you work a full-time job? So 99.9 was unpaid. How to manage life and work-life balance, work-life school balance, that's 3 major things. So if you're working full-time, that might be tough. I think it can be tough. to do 20 hours internship and then have good, healthy life stuff going on. People do it. Those who are able to do it, this thing is awful. Try to find sites that have like weekend times, in case that maybe work during the day, or weekends, or if you work on the weekends at nights, try to find a site during the day. I think you have to look extra hard to find sites and work with your schedules. Like one of the slides I said, make sure you know what you can do and commit to regarding time. But I think it can be a lot to work 40 hours a week and then 20 hours of internship. So make sure that you just have hot water for baths and candles and yoga and eat good. Yeah, I don't want you guys getting burned out. That's a good question. How can you have bills to pay? We have responsibilities. So now some jobs will, I've heard, can work with you and have you like change your shift, move things around, because only for 2 semesters. So perhaps some jobs can put an intern. Then you're gonna leave there anyways. I don't know. Maybe you get a raise. Not sure. It's a good question. How to manage it all.
Do you have to do them consecutively?
You do not.
Okay.
But some sites may like that you are doing it consecutively and will take you on knowing that you're going to do a 3-semester commitment.
Okay.
Practically smaller than the other 2. They might be more likely to. They might even ask you that. Can you commit to 3 semesters? Make sure you like that. So what if you're at your practicum site and you know you have deadlines for your internship? Let me pull up that slide. Because I don't want you guys to get caught in any kind of calendar madness. Is this the right one? So let's say you start practicum right here, right? And you're in it. When is your internship application due for fall?
June 1st.
Yes. Do you notice this? And remember, you're going to do a whole new one for internship. So you start practicum here in May, but the deadline for internship is June 1st. So in that 1 month, if you want to apply to be at the same site, make sure you really like that site. Because if you don't, in that 1 month, have some backup plan for another site. Or if you already know you want to go to a different site anyways, have all that going on at the same time. Same for internship 2. I don't have that date on here, but if you do something similar to up here, if you're into the fall, and the fall semester starts, so internship 1, when's the deadline for internship 2? Is that right? That's not right. Is that right? October 1st. Hey, welcome. It's going to be, yeah, that's right, October 1st. You have 1 month there too. So fall of next year, if you're doing 3 semesters in a row, you'll start internship 1. And what if you don't like where you're at internship 1? You've got 30 days to change it before the next application is due. Because remember, if you stay at the site, you'll need a new application. Just need another agreement. So I say all that in case you think, I don't want to do a 3 semester, which is why I'm glad you brought this up. Make sure you follow the deadlines so you can change sites if you want. Okay. What other thoughts do you have? Question?
And you would do all of it at the same place, like practical, internship?
Yeah, we recommend that you do.
Because like, I'm just like, having students at our site, I know that like just 1 semester is really short and
Yeah.
they're less likely to take you.
As soon as you get to another client, then you're
Yeah, they're gone.
That's why some sites like yours will say, can you commit to 3 semesters? Because you're not only interviewing them, they're interviewing you. Yeah.
So the training agreement gets established after you notified us that
Yep.
the site is good to go, and that is done with, so like meeting with the site supervisor and identifying days and things like that.
Yes,
Is that correct?
exactly.
And then it's signed by them as
Yes.
well?
No, there's no document for them to sign.
And so it's just something that we fill out online,
Yes.
but that they're agreeing to.
Yes.
And then, I actually, is the agreement a separate document from the
Yes.
application?
No, it's good. Very good questions. Yes.
Because sure enough, my computer did crash after I finished the
Oh.
application, so I don't,
Not
I
good.
mean, I can probably pull together the application stuff, but not.
Yeah. So they're two separate links.
Okay.
2 separate links.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost my hard drive this year too.
And so if I'm doing the practicum in January, when would the internship application be due? I'm assuming it's gonna be the same site, but I would be doing it in the fall, the internship thing. I wasn't clear from
That's
this.
okay, yeah. So you're doing, say it again, you're doing practicum,
In January. So that's spring, right?
summer, you're doing practicum, sorry, in spring. So you're doing internship 1 in summer? Yeah.
No, they want me to skip, I'm coming back in the fall.
Okay, so
Because
for the
they've got more
fall,
clients than, yeah.
so you're doing internship 1 in the fall. So if you want to do fall, that's why these are gray, fall,
I
and then
see.
your application is a new site.
If it's the same site though, I would just do an agreement,
Correct.
June 1.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But you may want to let us know, because most students do their fitness periods every semester. If you take one off, maybe just send us a note so we know, to
Okay.
remind us, yeah. That makes sense? Most students do practicum, internship 1, 2, all in a row. So if you take a break and then go on vacation, you got stuff going on, let us know so we know what's coming our way.
It was actually their preference because they have more, they don't have a lot going on in the summer.
Ah, okay. Good. It must be a good site though, you want to stay with them.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it seemed
I
to be,
enjoy it,
right?
Yeah.
Other questions?
Oh, so if we're staying at the same site, what happens between semesters, like
This
at
is
the end
a
of
great
December
question.
to the beginning of January?
This is great, Chris. So, you will see, let's say for example, you're doing traditional and you're starting summer practicum here, and you're going to finish around August 19th. When does fall semester start?
September.
Round about here. So that's maybe like, what, 2 weeks in between?
Mm-hmm.
We want you to stay at your site those 2 weeks. We want you to stay. The site needs to know that you will not be taking a class with us. So you need to make sure that you email us and CC your supervisor so that they know that we know that you're staying at the site for 2 weeks and they recognize that you're not with Argosy's courses at the time. You know, you're in a regular class when we're having the semester. That way that there's no confusion about supervision. Why would we encourage you to stay at your site during the break?
Continuity.
Continuity of care for the clients. I'll be right back. Hold on to your depression. Back 2 weeks. No.
And your hours still count.
They do the
Absolutely.
hours still count. Okay.
Absolutely. Can you start your practicum internship before courses start, classes start? No. Now, unless you're between the semester, you're already in it. So like practicum, you can't start practicum until the first day of class. This is in the manual. All this, like in the back
But
manual,
once
there's a
you're
Q&A.
there, once you're there, you
Yes.
stay there till it's over.
Yes, make sure there's an email to us so that we know between the semesters prior to internship that they know you're not getting supervision at that Hopkins, at Argosy.
So does Argosy have insurance? We have insurance through Argosy
Yes.
when we're on break then?
Correct.
So you say email the site supervisor to let them know that you're on break from school?
So you should email us, and you've already talked with them, your site supervisor, and CC supervisor, and email us and say, I am going to be staying at my site. Dr. Jones knows that I'll only be getting supervision from him and not through Argosy. Thank you very much.
So if they wanted me to start January 5th, because that's when a whole session of groups start, is that doable?
That for practicum?
Yeah. Because it's like the beginning of a 10-week session.
Yeah, our liability says only after the first day of class.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can discuss that with them when you're talking about.
Hey, yeah, if you need our support, I would tell them. It's in the manual too, so you could. I mean, I recommend when you contact sites, give them a manual. And if you know the manual, you could say, don't make them read all the manual, but you
Yeah.
can say, refer to page 18 through 21, which talks about what site, whatever it is, site supervisor's requirements are, so they can have that. It'll say some of these particular things that we're saying.
What if we're not seeing clients at that time? Can I get enrolled? Can I shadow?
Yeah. So the log is going around. I don't know who has it right now, but the log, it'll say what counts as direct hours and indirect hours. So direct hours is pretty much anything you're doing with a client, regarding a client. If you are shadowing your supervisor, who is maybe doing rounds, or maybe your supervisor is seeing a client, you're sitting in the room. Is it direct hours if you're sitting in the room? It is not. You're not doing anything. It's indirect. So that could be a whole hour. That could be direct if your supervisor will let you have some intervention in that session. Then it'll be direct. So I think it's a good question. Now, most sites don't usually have you seeing clients right off the bat, right? Do you know this? No. So why would they not want you to see clients right off the bat? Everything's not good. So on average, so let's say we're talking about internship. Internship's about, after 20 hours a week, of which about 8 hours are direct hours. 8 hours of some interaction with a client. The first week, will you get those 8 hours of direct? You will not. Second week?
You might, but probably not.
I don't know. Maybe third week you start getting some. You're already behind 16 hours of direct now. So there's going to be some weeks where you're going to have to putting in 10, 12 to get caught up and back to your average of 8 hours a week. So, because there will be some time that you may not see clients. Or perhaps some sites are ready for you to see clients, but no clients are coming in. Mental health of our community is getting better. What is our profession? That could be the case too. So you just got to watch your math and try to do all your indirect supervision that you can, and then be ready to catch up with direct when clients start coming in. So, these are great questions, Chris. Great questions.
They come up a lot, so just helping you guys out to help me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If by some chance we're able to find a practical internship that is paid, is there some type of notification we need to notify the school?
Yeah, let us know. We have some stipulations about the timing of that because we don't want it to make sure it's not confused with being employment. Too much? Too little? Just right?
I have a question.
Friday night?
My current job, which will most likely not be my practicum or internship, but just as an example, it has an acute and a residential units. It's a behavioral health level
Nice.
4
Wow.
institution. If I currently work on the residential side. If I wanted to do my practicum and internship on the acute side because there's a different supervisor, would that potentially be allowed?
Yes, if also the direct clients.
Yeah, they are different.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you're allowed to stay there if you're working with different clients and with a different supervisor than the one that's actually
Those
at
two
you.
things make the difference.
So if it's my job and I'm working there full time on the residential side, I work 12-hour shifts, so I'm off on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if I did my practicum for Tuesdays and Thursdays on the acute side that I'm not getting paid to do, then I could still have my job and work.
As long as you have different supervisors and set of clients. We want to really try to minimize the chance of a dual relationship. So. It's good. Yeah.
You guys may have already went over this before I got in the room. Is the site list, has that been updated?
Sure. So after you attend this session, which is required, next week we're going to email you several things. One of the things that we'll email you is the site list.
Okay.
And except for the site list, all the things that we're going to email you next week are also on the counseling student portal. So you go ahead and get a heads up on these documents if you like. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah. I know. I understand. Well, if you think of something later, feel free to email Chris and me because the email is going to come from Chris. And both our emails are in this PowerPoint. Or if you want mine for right now, it's mriggio@rpc.edu. Okay? All right. Have a good weekend. Make sure you sign in on site. Okay?